Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Caroline Viola. I am a recruiting coordinator based out of our New York office. I'm very excited for you to join us tonight to learn a little bit more about Kearney and consulting as a whole. So just a couple logistics before we get started. We will have the opportunity to answer any questions you have throughout. So if you do, please use that Q&A function at the bottom of the screen or send messages directly to T'Challa Brown. If you do not have any question, or if you have a question that isn't answered, you can go ahead and send it to our email of careers or kearneycareers@ug@kearney.com. Sorry, that's a new email for us. But go ahead and send any questions to that as well. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Elena.
Hey, thanks so much. And just as a sound check, can everyone hear me? Okay, great. Hi, everyone, depending on, I guess, time zones. Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Elena Roner, and I'm a senior business analyst with the firm. I am based out of the New York office, although in COVID times, I'm living down in Maryland. I'm sure we're all maybe not perhaps where we're used to being. And I am actually aligned to the energy and process industries practice. So main clients tend to be chemicals clients, oil and gas, kind of energy, that kind of thing. So I'll hand it over to Owen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Owen. I am a business analyst out of the New York office. Currently not aligned to a practice, currently a generalist. And I graduated from Duke back in 2020. And we'll hand it over to you, Ellen.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Ellen. I am also a fairly recently joined business analyst in New York, so also a generalist. I graduated just recently in 2020 from Penn. And yeah, excited to talk with you all.
Cool. So I guess we'll each kind of give a quick background, just so we're not kind of random people talking to you. So I guess we have two Penn grads. So I also did my undergrad and master's at Penn. Kind of focus was corporate sustainability, environmental science, aligned to a lot of stuff I do here at Kearney as well. As long as I'm outside, I'm happy. Pretty much kind of everyone calls me. The joke in the family is that I'm kind of the puppy dog. Like I always need to be moving. So. And that was kind of also why I got into consulting. I get bored pretty easily. And so, to me, honestly, I got into consulting because a lot of my friends from Wharton were doing on-campus recruiting. And I figured if they were doing it, I might as well hop on the bandwagon. But, it also has been a great opportunity and I think really works well with my personality. There's always something new. It's pretty fast-paced. You get exposure to a lot of things pretty early on. And I also, and I think you're going to hear this at every Kearney event you probably attend, is that, and it's true, it's cliche, but true, the people are really awesome here. So that was another big driver.
Great. Yeah, as I said before, I recently graduated from Duke back in 2020. I was a STEM guy. I studied computer science and economics. And things I like to do outside of work is I like to play music. I like to stay active. Right now, I've been getting into dance, and I've played soccer throughout my life. And then a big reason as to why I joined consulting was the strong focus on development, both for your career and for your skills. I found this to be a great motivating factor to applying, just because I felt like in previous jobs and internships, I hadn't gotten that mentorship that is provided within consulting. And then for me as well, the people at Kearney were great. Throughout the interview process, I felt like everyone that I met was super approachable, and there was a really friendly atmosphere here at Kearney that I greatly appreciated.
Yeah, so also a Penn grad, opposite of Owen, was not a STEM or business person, studied psychology and minored in consumer psychology and Korean studies. but I was able to do consulting related extracurricular activities, which is sort of what sparked the full-time interest. One thing that really drew me to Kearney, as Elena said, were the people. Everyone was just so willing to help out and engage even before I joined the firm. So I felt really welcome from day zero even. And like the others mentioned, I really liked the flexibility aspect of consulting and just being able to get broad exposure to various industries and practice areas and even people. Working with a wide range of different clients really appealed to me. So yeah.
Great. I'll be talking about what it means to be a consultant and what you can expect if you decide to join this industry. First and foremost, for all of our projects, we work in teams. This is an essential part of being a consultant. The reason being is that every opinion within each team is really important to pushing a project forward towards a solution or recommendation that is impactful for our client. It's really important to leverage team members' past experiences across different industries and functions to really create a creative and a robust solution. Even if team members have not solved that exact issue, by working from past experiences, we can solve very complex business problems. This also gives each member an opportunity to go from having very little experience within an industry or a practice to becoming a subject matter expert in a short period amount of time. Kearney also gives each person the opportunity to speak with leaders at companies and within industries. And by working with thought leaders within each industry, Kearney gives their employees the opportunity to learn from the people who have the most experience. And this is ultimately very effective in accelerating one's careers and skills development. And although right now we're not able to physically go to our clients because of COVID, we are able to still collaborate with them and develop solutions with them, and also develop as consultants as well.
Okay, so as background, Kearney's focus and heritage lies with its strategic operations practice, in which we address our clients' end-to-end operational and analytical challenges. Outside of this as well, though, Kearney operates across a wide range of industries and offers a breadth of services, as you can see from this page. And this is really great for consultants working because these different areas aren't mutually exclusive and your work will often be interdisciplinary. So you get, again, that really broad exposure. And as Owen touched on, you get a lot of collaboration with other consultants at Kearney who may already be subject matter experts in these different areas. As a generalist, it's great to be able to learn from all these different experts and to just see all of the ideas sort of cross industries and be able to pull things from different places. I feel like you hear interdisciplinary a lot at school, but it still very much carries through to Kearney's work as well, which I really enjoy.
So maybe to give a little bit of color to what Ellen and Owen were talking about, and then we'll kind of turn this over to everyone for Q&A, because I think that's where it actually gets interesting. But so I guess here are actually my first two projects at Kearney. The one on the left-hand side was what I did as an intern, and then as a BA intern, and then on the right-hand side was my first project back with the firm in 2019. So at a high level, right? And during my internship, I was working on a team that was a clean team. And so that's, when you have two companies that are either merging or one's acquiring the other, you have this period before the deal closes, where a consulting firm can come in and you basically sign NDAs on both sides. We kind of commit to keeping information confidential, but we're then able to do kind of work ahead of time, so that when the deal does close, we have all of these projects for cost saving identified and kind of outlined and ready to go, so that clients can then kind of get the ball rolling, accelerate savings, and make Wall Street happy. So that's what we did. That's what I was working on. And in this case, I was responsible for 4 different raw materials categories. And part of that, was owning the analytical models, kind of starting to own relationships with buyers, and ultimately developing kind of I don't know if this will mean much to anyone, but these synergy lockdown decks, basically kind of you take these opportunities, and it's the deck you kind of have when you sit down with both sides and come together and say, here's who's going to be assigned to the project, here's who's doing it. This is, prioritization. Are we aligned on spend? Are we aligned on savings? So all of that was something that I was given to do as an intern. And so I was still a junior in college at the time. So I think similar to all of you, that's what, potentially you could be doing as an intern with Kearney. And then when I came back to the firm full time, I was kind of immediately staffed on this project. And we mentioned I'm based out of the New York office, and I got a call through one of my project team for my internship from a different partner who was based out of the Toronto office. And he was like, hey, I have a project for you. It's oil and gas. And it's based out of Calgary, Canada. And if for any of you who are geographically savvy, that's like up north. It was cold. It was the winter. I had to take an 8-hour driving course to learn how to drive safely in the snow and ice. So perks are interesting aspects of travel. But anyway, so that was a cool project. And we basically came in and looked at their procurement organization. Specifically, procurement, you have kind of this whole process of procure to pay. So it starts at, someone at the company needs to purchase something or a service. And you kind of go through to getting that. You need to certify it. You need to kind of invoice that whole process. And there's a lot of opportunity to kind of lose money and to have value leakage. And so we came in and did gap assessment. Meaning I was running this work stream, kind of did a gap assessment, came up with some recommendations, and then actually worked with the client to implement various things that, ultimately kind of work towards a much better organization, much better flow, and a lot of cost savings too. So, so yeah, those are very quick versions of the first 2 projects I had at Kearney. And I think, tying back to everything you heard just now, I think it sums up as you get a lot of cross-functional experience, and you kind of, you're willing to take on the work. You often, it's a pretty non-hierarchical, flat organization. And so you get the opportunity to kind of to expand, right? And so even if you're just a BA, you can start to expand pretty quickly into, the next level, right? Which is cool. And I think how you get that accelerated experience. So I'll pause there, and I think, Caroline, should we go over to Q&A? I see we already have some coming in.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and get started on our Q&A panel. If you do have questions or you joined a little late, if you could just place those questions in the Q&A section down in the bottom right-hand corner, or just send them to T'Challa Brown. So we'll go ahead and get started. So the main question that we've seen so far is, how do you choose your focus in consulting? Do you start out general and then focus in the future?
I guess maybe I can do that since I've aligned. So this is an answer that you're going to get really sick of hearing with consultants, but it always depends. And so, I think for me, I had done energy work and sustainability in college and during my master's, and so I came to the firm pretty much set on being interested in EPI, and that kind of those clients and that industry. But I think I don't think you have to align until you're a manager. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for you to kind of progress and be a generalist and hop around and try things out. And, you always have the opportunity to kind of internally network. And, if you like one practice more or the other, you kind of find the people you really like to work with, and you end up kind of more often than not kind of naturally funneling into those kind of projects. But I think, it really depends on, you can align as early as I was a BA when I aligned. So I think, it depends on what you're interested in and where you want to go.
Great, thank you. And this question is for Ellen. So Ellen, you mentioned how there were many teams at Kearney. Can you speak to the fluidity between the teams and how the communication is between the teams?
Yeah, so to give an example, I guess my current project, I'm actually working with Elena on one of those chemicals projects. And even though my work stream is really in procurement, I've also been able to, I guess, leverage calls with other Kearney consultants from like digital transformation to get their insights on relevant tasks and assignments that we needed for the client. So there is just a lot of, like, everyone at Kearney is willing to help if you reach out, even to get like people's experiences. Oh, how did you do this on your previous project? Like, we saw that you did something similar for this client. Would you mind walking us through the steps for that? So there is just a lot of fluidity in terms of being able to leverage both current and previous projects across industries and services.
Great, thank you. Next question. What is the staffing model at Kearney like? Do you work with teams with people specifically in your office, or are you working across different offices throughout the nation?
Yeah, I can take this. You work with people from many different offices. Currently on my project, I'm working with people from the New York, Boston, and I think the Houston office, but also people from Toronto and Mexico City. So it can be truly global of the people that you work with, and I think that's something that makes Kearney very interesting.
Great, thank you so much. So as business analysts, what was one of the biggest challenges you had to overcome your first year at the firm?
I feel like the current BA should answer that first. I have some ideas, but
I mean, I guess for me and our class at least, it was a little odd because we started in the pandemic, so it's a little unusual. So pandemic-wise, I think starting digitally obviously is hard, just not being able to have that in-person, in-office relationship building. Because I feel like, again, that's such a big part of Kearney, the people being able to make those close relationships. So it is a little more difficult online. But outside the pandemic, I think one of the challenges of being a new BA is definitely just there's so much to learn in consulting. You can get pulled in every which direction. So trying to, I guess, manage that in terms of just learning on your feet and getting ramped up with project to project. But it really does improve your flexibility skills and capabilities, just being able to dive right into something new and adapt is definitely something that I've found to be really a big development in this early BA stage.
Yeah, to go along with that, I think something that you learn throughout your first year is how to prioritize your work and how to make sure that whatever you're doing next has the most impact for your team. I think at the beginning, I definitely struggled and kind of maybe getting sidetracked with something that wasn't quite as important, just because there is a lot to do. So just trying to kind of keep your eye on the ball and making sure that you are prioritizing your work well is a great skill to learn in your first year.
Yeah, I think I would agree with everything that's been said. To be totally honest, one of my biggest challenges, and I'm still working on it, is learning how to say no. And so I think especially as a new BA, you want to prove yourself, right? You're kind of up against a lot of other really awesome high performers, and you want to make a name for yourself. You want to make sure that people like know how awesome you are. And so that often tends to mean that you say yes to pretty much everything that gets thrown your way, and that's just not sustainable. And so I think, one of the biggest things. It's just to continually learning how to, where can I truly add the most value, and what do I care about the most, and saying respectfully, I'm a little overwhelmed right now, and I need to, get back to me in a couple weeks. I think that's something that, as you kind of learn your way around the firm, it gets easier.
Great, thank you, everyone. So next question, like Ellen said, starting virtually, does Kearney have any plans to return to normal travel and in-person activities?
So I think what we've been told is that I think there is, for the summer at least, there is a kind of plan to have an optional. So either you can be in person, or you can be so in person, I guess, as in you can travel, right? I guess, Caroline, you can correct me here on the tactical side of this, but I think you'll be given the opportunity to kind of opt into kind of getting relocation, to be able to relocate to your office and city that you're aligned to. And then there's also obviously the option to not. And I mean, I think, again, that pressure of like being new and wanting to go with what everyone else is doing, I think there definitely will be no expectation that you do travel. And so it's whatever you're comfortable with. And I think, that's still honestly being figured out. And, I'm not traveling. I don't think anyone else is traveling right now. So, no one should feel pressured to, but I think recruiting is working on kind of trying to make that an option, since, there is kind of nothing like being in person. I don't know if that's the best comprehensive answer. I know that's what I heard on one of these calls.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think one thing to note too is with our summer internship this upcoming summer, we are still pretty aware of the fact that the pandemic is going on. So projects are virtual, but summers do have the option to go relocate to their office city. So you have full option of what you prefer to do and what's most comfortable for you as well. One question that I just saw come through is, do we hire international students in the US? So for business analysts, you must be a US citizen, and we do not provide sponsorship for the business analyst position. However, there are international opportunities within the firm as well. And on the next slide, I can share those with you as well. But for US specific, you must be a US citizen. Next question is, what are you all involved in within the firm other than your projects? Diversity programs, any social impact? Feel free to go ahead and share those.
Yeah, I can go first. So I'm currently part of the East Asian Network Planning Committees. So that's been a really great community in Kearney, and just a really great space to connect with more people, again, with this digital remote work. And so we've been actually planning for our Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month activities later in May. So that's been really exciting. I'm also part of the New York office social committee. So again, more event planning there, just trying to keep morale high, even again with online happy hours or whatnot. So that's been really fun and a great way to connect with people outside of just a work environment.
Owen, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm also a part of the New York office social community. Have been trying to raise morale and organize some of those happy hours as well, and some of those events. And also trying to internally in my team take the charge on team dinners and make sure that even with the pandemic, we still create that kind of team camaraderie that grows so naturally when you're in person.
Yeah, so I think I have my hands in a couple of different pots. Like I said, I have trouble kind of saying no to things. So, I'm pretty involved in recruiting, and so I think for those of you who end up, doing an internship with us, I'm in charge of communication. So, kind of doing newsletters and outreach and stuff. Recruiting has always been really fun part of the job. I love that. So that's one thing. Then I also, again, sustainability background. So I kind of have involvement in the New York office sustainability group, the kind of global sustainability team. And then I also, part of that, I recently did a 10-week certification course on top of everything, which I highly don't recommend, but here I am. I survived. And so I did that, which was really cool, and kind of working on, the next couple weeks, months, be working on bringing a lot of those learnings from that certification kind of over to Kearney and into our offerings, and kind of building that sustainability set of sustainability offerings that we have, especially for EPI. And then another kind of big bucket, which I don't know, kind of in other things you guys have heard about, but Kearney is really embarking on a pretty ambitious and I think really awesome kind of work well, be well mental health initiative at work. And so largely around destigmatizing mental health, kind of working on our own work-life balance at the office or virtual office. And so I'm kind of involved in both the global and local teams there. I personally kind of dealt with some stuff over the last year, and so it's been really important to me to kind of work with the teams at Kearney that are working on that to really make change actually happen. And it's been fantastic. I've been doing this for, I think I've been working on this actively with different teams for about 6 months now, and I think we've made some really awesome progress, which at some point we could probably dig into more. But so yeah, those are, I think, the big things that I'm involved in outside of project work.
Great, thank you. So I think the burning question right now is any advice on navigating Kearney's recruitment process? Tips, tricks, interviews, resume screens, anything like that?
I guess with the resume, my strategy was just trying to show whatever project or internship or group that I was a part of, how did I have impact there? How did I make a difference within that? And usually attaching numbers to that doesn't hurt. And so that's my recommendation as far as the resume and creating kind of that image for you for the recruiting team is impact.
Ellen, what are your words of wisdom?
I guess then moving on from the resume to more of the interview side, I feel like a lot of the times with these consulting interviews, people get caught up with the case interviews, and they spend a lot of time preparing for those, and sort of they don't spend as much thought and time on that behavioral aspect. But I would just make sure to balance both, because both are equally important. Again, as we keep stressing, people are everything at Kearney. So maybe even more so than the case, you want to make sure that you're presenting your own experiences and your ways of working and your leadership style, and really making sure to have those stories and narratives to best present yourself. So I know the case interviews are really scary and they can be the most seemingly daunting, but just making sure to prepare for all aspects of the process and not downplay any portion.
Yeah, I mean, I think and I have a younger sister who's I think she's a junior now, and so I kind of got this question from a lot of her friends too. My personal advice is to be authentic, right? I mean, consulting when we're not stuck at home is a huge amount of travel. It's a huge amount of team time, right? And think about it. One of the things, the biggest thing, just like Ellen said, yes, we want to know if you can do a case, and largely with the case, we're trying to understand, how do you think? How are you going to solve a problem? How are you going to approach, right? The problem, the challenge that a client presents to us, right? And that's, an important part of it. But I think another huge part of it is, are you someone that I want to be stuck in an airport with for 9 hours when the plane, when we're snowed in Calgary and I can't leave? And well, do I want to sit and drink a beer with you for, while I'm stuck in the airport? So, I think a large part of it, and not really, but it's being authentic, right? It's showing up to these interviews, especially the behaviorals, and just bring your best foot forward. I think I've helped out a couple of college kids who are working on recruiting, and I feel like sometimes they try to like fit themselves into the box that they think recruiters and Kearney are expecting, and that's in no way the case. I mean, I think one of the things I loved about Kearney from the beginning was that everyone is so different, and so that's what you should highlight in your interviews is like, what cool different aspect can you bring to the table? And like, if it's nerding out about wastewater treatment, like that's what I did, and here I am, right? Like, so I think, don't kind of try to fit yourself into a mold that perhaps isn't you. Like, bring your full true self to the table. And I think that's my best advice.
Yeah, I think you all brought up some great tips, so thank you for that. With regards to recruiting as well, one question I just saw is how do you apply for the business analyst position? So we will post the job posting on our website as well as the school's handshake accounts or your career services account. So we do recommend that you sign up for our newsletters and webinars, so you'll be the first to find out about those as well. So you can find those on our website. And then once that application becomes available, which is usually the end of the summer, you can go ahead and apply for that. So next question, has anyone done the internship at Kearney before working here? Could you provide a little bit of information on that?
Sorry, Owen, did you guys do an internship?
Yeah, so I interned back in 2019, which is a long time ago at this point. It was supposed to start full time in October 2020, but obviously got a little delayed because of the pandemic. But yeah, I had a fantastic internship experience. I was on actually an EPI case with a great team. We were traveling to the client sites in Delaware and Indiana, so places that I didn't expect I'd find myself, but it was a surprisingly good setup because we would be able to Amtrak to Delaware, have a really nice short commute there, and then still get those airline points when we went to Indiana. So it ended up, I actually really enjoyed the traveling aspect of consulting, and I'm looking forward to when that comes back. But my project work stream was in sustainability and supplier diversity, which I actually found was sustainability, like Elena, is one of my big areas of interest. So I really enjoyed my work stream, and it was a great opportunity for me to work closely with the client stakeholders. So we developed a really close working relationship, built a lot of trust, and had a really strong, I guess, just supportive relationship working together. So it made me realize that client work doesn't always have to be like tedious or demanding, and that it can really be collaborative. So that was something I really enjoyed from my internship experience. And again, just getting to know my team, getting to do those, again, can't quite do it as easily now, but those dinners after the workday or happy hour together, like in the hotel bar, those were all really great. And just, yeah, I had a great experience with my team and project.
Yeah, I think I had similar experiences. I will say I had no idea what consulting was when I showed up. I mean, you'd think I'd have gotten like something out of the interviews, and I think I did, but I really didn't know what I was getting into 100%. And so for me, it was actually the first couple of weeks were really hard. It was a really steep kind of ramp up. It was like a lot of information. I was like drinking from a fire hose, right? Kind of figuring out how to be a consultant, what that meant, supporting the team. And, the first week of the internship is a kind of pretty comprehensive in-person training, and you kind of meet with your cohort across the Americas. And, some really awesome, I think, kind of simulations of what you do in real life as a consultant. And so that's really helpful. But, nothing beats being on the job. And so, yeah, I mean, everything Ellen said, but it was hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But it was also a lot of fun. And I can tell you by the time I got to the end, and I gave my final presentation, like in front of a couple of partners and, my team and pretty important people at the firm. I was like, wow, I did that. Like, that's, I could, like the first 2 weeks of the internship, I did not think I was going to make it. So, you have an amazing support group, you have a mentor, you have your team, but you do get given real work. I mean, it's you're a BA, and that's how you present. You are presented, or you present yourself to clients. So.
Great, thank you. And then just to clarify too, so we do recruit for 2 roles. So the first is a summer business analyst. So that will be in the fall. And then you would intern with us between your junior and senior year throughout that summer. So that will also be posted on our website and on your school's career pages. So keep an eye out for that. And then full-time, you would interview your fall of your senior year, similar timeline, but then you would join us after you graduate. So both will be posted on the website, both will be posted on the career pages. So definitely keep an eye out. Another question for you guys is, what's something you wish you knew before becoming a consultant for Kearney?
There's so much I wish I had known. Yeah, that's a hard one. I don't know. I think one of the things that was helpful to learn that I certainly didn't learn is the power of, and maybe those of you who use Khan Academy will kind of be laughing at this, but like it took me a little while, probably a little longer than it should have, to figure out how useful YouTube was, and like how when there are things you have absolutely no idea how to like do, just type it into Google or type it into YouTube and watch a couple of videos and figure it out. I know that sounds really simple, but like there's a lot of stuff when it comes to Excel, when it comes to PowerPoint, ThinkCell, that you're just like, I don't know how people make those beautiful pages, or I don't know how that Excel, like I don't know how that formula works. And most of the time you got to figure it out yourself, and YouTube and Google are wonderful, helpful tools.
Yeah, I think for me, this is definitely something I'm still working on, but would love to have gotten or been aware of earlier, is just it is completely okay to ask for help. Like, especially when you're starting the job, you aren't really expected to know how to do everything perfectly. So if you are having trouble or you're unsure of where to go, just sitting with it isn't gonna be helpful for you or the rest of your team. So just taking that step to reach out and ask, like, hey, could you maybe help walk me through this, or can I bounce a few ideas off of you? Elena's been really helpful for me for this part, especially as I've been starting out. And so just being, unafraid to reach out and get that help that you need instead of trying to figure it all out on your own. Of course, try to do that a little bit at first, but know when to reach out, I guess.
Yeah, I think to expand upon that, I think just reaching out to people in general. I wish I kind of knew that, especially during the COVID times with team members, where you can set up meetings, and the meetings definitely come, but trying to block off time separately that is sort of non-project time, right, and getting to know them. I think that is a difficult thing to lose from working in person. So if you guys start and it's still COVID and you're still doing it virtually, making sure to treat those times as important as the other times, just because everyone here is super nice, super cool, and I've really enjoyed getting to know my entire team. And so maybe wish I started doing that sooner.
Great, so we have time for one more question for the panelists. So what do you guys think sets Kearney apart from our competitors?
So I have an answer to this, which is when I asked someone at Kearney when I was doing my informational interview, I thought it was a great answer. And it's actually very true. So it's not just kind of something we say. I think our approach when we get down into it with clients is really kind of roll up our sleeves, get down into the trenches and dig with them. And that's how it was phrased to me. And it's so true. I mean, I obviously haven't worked at a different consulting firm, but I went through the recruiting process, and having spoken with a couple of different firms, and my read on Kearney, and now having worked here, is that we really get into the weeds with the clients, and I think it's really a collaborative process. It's not just like, hey, we're consultants in this glass corner glass office, we're telling you what to do. It's like, hey, we're coming here, we're listening. First and foremost, we're listening. We understand what's going on. We need to figure out what's going on, and then we're going to come up with a really tailored, fit for purpose solution that's going to get you what you need. And so, yes, we have frameworks. Yes, we have playbooks. But I've never just copied and pasted that. I always am taking, conversations, previous frameworks, and then making sure it's tailored to the client, and making sure it works. And that's cool. It's like, I guess you could come in and slap down any old solution and have people do it, but there's a real people aspect to it, and a real relationship building, and I actually just got off the phone on Wednesday with a client of mine who I worked with a couple months ago, and he and I have this have a personal relationship now. He tells me about his grandkids, and it's great. And I think so I think that's what sets Kearney apart.
Yeah, I'd say the approachable people here. I've been saying it a lot on this call, but never have I felt like intimidated by anybody, either people who have been at the firm for a long time or have been working in a certain industry for a long time. Cold calling, cold emailing, different partners and different industries, just to get to know the industry a little bit better, is completely acceptable, and they are always super responsive and excited to speak to you about what they do. And I think that that's a very special aspect of this firm.
Yeah, just quickly adding to that, Owen's point about the people again. I'm sure you're tired of hearing it. Like, even I remember during my interviewing process, both of my interviewers from the first round, they had separate calls with me after, just to give me feedback and to go over ways for me to improve forward than the second round, because they genuinely wanted me to succeed even before I was when I was just an applicant and going through the process. Everyone at the firm really cares about you and your development, again, from day zero, which I found really special.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. So we have come to the end of our webinar. So again, thank you so much for joining. Like I said earlier, we do have some international opportunities as well. So T'Challa just put the sign up in the chat. You can also scan the QR code. So we have our China offices and our Middle Eastern offices that are looking for business analysts. So if you're looking to go to any of those locations, feel free. The recruiters from those offices will reach out to you. And then if any of your questions weren't answered, you can go ahead and send them to our inbox that goes to the recruiting team. So it's kearneycareers.ug@kearney.com. So any questions, we will respond to those. But again, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and thank you to our panelists. Hope you all have a great rest of your evening.
Bye all. Thanks.
Thank you. Good night.